Welcome back to Donington Park as we get ready for the final race of the 2012 GT Cup Championship, and this is how they line up, with Jordan Witt once more in pole position. Derek Johnson shares the front row with him. Matt Selden, the foremost of the Group 2 runners, in 5th, and Colin Broster leading the Group 3 charge a little bit lower down the order. A rolling start as ever, and Derek Johnson, there he is in the number 41 Ferrari. If he makes it to the checkered flag, then he will be crowned the GT Cup champion for 2012. However, Chris Bentley is poised to capitalise in that number 35 Porsche if things could go wrong for Johnson, as the lights flash out and away we go. And Derek Johnson looking to set his stall out early here, as he has a drag race with Jordan Witt towards Redgate Corner, and swooping across, taking the lead is Derek Johnson, and he would love to claim the title with a victory, because this year he has been Mr. Consistent. He's actually not racked up as many wins as some of his rivals, in particular the likes of Jordan Witt. So Johnson already trying to streak out into a big advantage, asking a lot of questions to those Pirelli tyres early in the race. Already he's pulled out considerable advantage over Jordan Witt, as Kevin Riley and the Mosler hasn't come through. So runner with Riley and the Mosler's had a little bit of a problem, because it's Lee Mole who has climbed up to 3rd. Then Matt Selden is there in 4th position. Selden leading Group 2, and he'll be looking to capitalise on the disappointment from the earlier race in car with Selden. Then, as he snatches the gear into Coppice, Matt, one of the friendliest drivers in what is a very amiable and social paddock. He's also a very, very quick pilot as well, and he would like to get on the overall race podium, let alone claiming group victory. So that is what he is looking to try and achieve, as they jink through Fogarty S's and then accelerate over the crest in the hill into the Melbourne hairpin. Are we going to see a challenge here from Selden? He certainly thinks about looking to the inside of the Lee Mole as they hit the brakes around the hairpin, and then sprinting on towards the left-hander at Goddard's. And yes, the BMW all over the tail of that Ginetta GT3. And can we see Selden just finding way to the inside? No, we can't, as the Ginetta able to pull out a couple of car lengths on that run between the hairpin and then into Goddard. So they still dispute 3rd in the race. And actually Group 2, that battle coming together, as Don Grice has made a good start here, is not too far adrift, you'd have to say, from Matt Selden. So very competitive in these early stages, as Selden sprints out of Redgate and through Hollywood, lunging through the crane of curves. Probably one of the most satisfying sequences of corners anywhere in the world on a racetrack, although you do have to get it absolutely spot on, as Matt did there. Takes a big bite of curb on the way through the old hairpin as he sets off under the Starkeys Bridge through Schwantz Curve in pursuit of Lee Mole. But at the moment, Lee Mole able to manage that distance back to Selden. Selden trying to stay with the Optimum Motorsport run man, Lee Mole, as they climb through McLean's on towards Coppice. Very tricky corner, Coppice, because you can't really see the entry to the corner until you arrive on. You have to actually turn into the corner before you see it. Takes a little commitment to do just that, as the race leader Derek Johnson still in command of proceedings, although he has got Jordan Witt homing on his tail. And will Johnson be able to seal off the crown with a victory? That's what he wants to do. At the moment it's looking pretty favourable for him, although Jordan Witt is just coming back towards him. We saw this in the earlier race, that Jordan Witt was not quite as quick at the starting blocks as those tyres get up to temperature, and Jordan Witt really plays himself into the race. Leading Group 3, Colin Broster, as we see a challenge for 2nd in the group, and David Barker in the Ginetta jumps the inside of Chris Bentley. And Barker in pursuit of Colin Broster, the podium contenders here in Group 3, all running very closely together, as Chris Bentley looks to the outside into Gollards. That's a brave move if Chris can pull it off in the Alpha Tune prepared Porsche. He can't quite do it, so the Ginetta leads the Porsche as they both pursue Colin Broster. And this is the beauty of multi-mark GT racing, as the Porsche and the Ginetta have very different characteristics, and Chris Bentley clearly thinks he's got good brakes, although David Barker sweeps around the outside of him, and the pair of them head side by side as Hollywood. But it's Bentley who's got the inside line, heading into the crane of curves, and Chris Bentley tries to squeeze through. He finally does, as the road falls away from them. That's a really nice move there from Chris Bentley, gaining the place over David Barker to move up into 2nd in Group 3. Unfortunately for Bentley though, if things stay as they are, that is not going to be enough to wrestle the crown away from Derek Johnson, because he really needs misfortune to strike Johnson. At the moment, that is not looking likely. Chris Bentley also really needs to win his group if he's to claim the crown here. So we have the leaders though very, very closely bunched now, and Jordan Witt has inexorably been working his way up onto the tail of Derek Johnson. Now, is he going to be in position here to challenge and find his way through. Maybe not at the Melbourne hairpin. About sprinting on towards Goddard's, and he draws alongside, so it's going to be a drag race to Goddard's, but it's the inside line of Derek Johnson, though. Witt switches back to the inside, has a look, but he can't quite pick his way past the Ferrari there. So another lap completed with Derek Johnson in command of the race, although by an increasingly slender margin, and the remainder of this race is going to feel very, very lengthy indeed for Derek Johnson, because he'd just like to see the checkered flag come out for race victory and the championship. For now, though, all his efforts concentrated on a clean run through the Craner curves, and the Ferrari looks absolutely sublime through the Craners. But then again, Jordan Witt gets a superb run through the old hairpin, brings himself immediately back underneath the rear spoiler of the Ferrari, as still the Chris Bentley and David Barker battle continues to rage, and the pair of them are closing up here on Colin Broster as well. Broster is not escaping, so this could get very competitive as the race begins to progress towards its latter stages. Well, Chris Bentley, he would like to sign off the season with a Group 3 victory. It's been such a stalwart campaigner in the GT Cup Championship, really since its inception, and he is looking to sign off what's been a fine season. David Barker, meanwhile, would just like to get himself up onto the podium. We've got a challenge here to lead the race, and are we going to see Jordan Witt launching to the inside? He comes from a long, long way back, but he judges that to perfection, and through he goes. So Jordan Witt in to lead the race. Again, maybe catching Derek Johnson slightly unawares, because Jordan Witt was quite some way behind the Ferrari as they hit the braking zone for the Fogarty S's. So Witt goes through. Johnson's motor second already. Jordan Witt in the chevron beginning to move clear of Derek Johnson. But Johnson, to an extent, can afford to let Jordan Witt do that, because if Johnson crosses the line in second, that will still be enough to give him the title. So over the line they go, sprinting on towards Redgate. Hit the brakes, down through the gears. It's a really tight right-hander, Redgate, but the exit is absolutely crucial, because you then don't really have any hard braking zones until you get to Coppice. Well, here's Kevin Riley in the Mosler, having had that troubled start to the race. He's now recovering very strongly and is up onto the tail of Chris Bentley, who in turn has latched himself towards Colin Broster. So Riley able to surge past in the Mosler. It's another place gain. Colin Broster is next target. And this could be really good news for Chris Bentley, because he wasn't really delayed there by Kevin Riley picking his way past him. However, Colin Broster may get delayed as Kevin Riley improves up through the order, and that could give Chris Bentley the opportunity to really mount the challenge for Group 3 honours. So around Redgate goes Riley, and then plants his right foot, unleashes the thunder of that Mosler through the Craner curves. As Derek Johnson heads into Goddard's. Jordan Witt moving clear in the lead of the race, and Johnson now just reeling off the laps and reeling off the minutes en route to the championship. We haven't seen too much of Lee Mole in this race. There he is, running in third overall, third in Group 1. And that is going to be a very solid result for Lee, as still David Barker taking the challenge to Chris Bentley, and Bentley in turn trying to stay with Colin Broster. At the moment, Bentley's efforts are all focused on defending as Riley's progress continues, making the move on Don Grice. So that climbs him up to 5th in the race overall. Don Grice, though, still circulates second in Group 2. That's being led by Matt Selden in his BMW. Don putting together another solid run. Johnson, though, will now be listening for every clunk of the gearbox, every beat of the engine, as Matt Selden, that sounds ominously quiet in the BMW, into the Melbourne Loop, looking to find gears, looking to find forward propulsion. He hasn't got it, and the car grinding to a halt on the exit of the Melbourne hairpin. Oh, that's such a shame, because Matt had the disappoint in race 1, and he's got it again in the second race of the day here at Donington Park. So he pulls the side of the road, as Jordan Witt is one corner away from claiming victory in the final race of the GT Cup Championship for 2012. He heads around Goddard's, sprints the checkered flag, and it is the win for Jordan Witt. Kevin Riley follows him across the line, a lap down, but in 4th position nonetheless. And what about this battle for Chris Bentley and Dave Barker? They've moved ahead of Colin Broster, so off camera, Broster's had a problem and is faded, so it's Chris Bentley who leads Group 3, heading into the Melbourne hairpin for the final time, but he's outbraked himself, and that's David Barker's opportunity, and Barker squeezes the inside. They go side by side out of the hairpin, and they make contact, and off goes Bentley, who keeps his foot, and around he goes. So Chris Bentley has a dramatic spin on the last lap. He's punctured the front tyre as well, you can see, and so it's going to be victory in Group 3 for David Barker. Second place to Colin Broster, and then Chris Bentley looks trailed through. So let's take a look at the race results, with the win for Jordan Witt, second place to Derek Johnson, and third to Lee Mole. That gives Derek Johnson the title. Don Grice claims Group 2 and David Barker Group 3. So in terms of the group results, Jordan Witt from Derek Johnson and Lee Mole in Group 1. Group 2 claimed by Don Grice after that disappointment for Matt Selden. And what about Group 3? What a dramatic last lap. Eventually, though, it was David Barker who prevailed from Colin Broster and Chris Bentley. All smiles for the new champion, Derek Johnson, onto the rostrum. It's been a long year's racing for Johnson, and he's done everything he needs to do to claim a very well-deserved title. And likewise, Jordan Witt, who's been supreme at Donington Park this weekend, and a very worthy victor as the champagne flies on the rostrum for the final time in 2012.
You know, we've worked hard all season, and finally, you know, a bit of luck and a bit of hard work, everything's starting to pay off for us.
I'm loving the look.
Yeah, no, I think that I was the main aim then of everyone on the podium by the looks of things with the champagne.
Yeah, no, it's been really, really good. Coming down to the last race is always difficult. I mean, last night I didn't sleep at all with just tension and nerves. You know, I just had to finish to clinch the championship, but even that's just hard. But when you get in the car, you just go for it and you just forget that. It's been really good. It's been, you know, some really good, some really lows, as racing is. But overall, it's been a good year.
Let's take a look then at the final championship standings, with in Group 1 the champion Derek Johnson from Kevin Riley, an excellent second, and Jordan Witt in third. Group 2, Pete Smallwood claiming the honours from David Witt and Don Grice. And in Group 3, it was Chris Bentley leading the way from Colin Broster and Peter Rowbottom. In terms of the overall championship standings, well, it is Derek Johnson who eventually claimed the championship by 11 points from Chris Bentley, with Colin Broster in third.
Well, as the checkered flag drops, that marks the end of another great season in the GT Cup paddock. Thanks to all the teams and drivers for providing such close and exciting racing once again. And of course, huge congratulations to our brand new 2012 GT Cup champion. We're off now for a well-earned winter break, but we'll be back raring to go in the springtime. So make sure you join us then for more great racing in 2013. But until then, from the GT Cup Championship, it's goodbye.